grog now, weep, ninnybone, my fellow TF addicts. It is I, TFA 1024, the TF Addict, coming to you with a very long overdue TFA review. Hey, that was a threefer. And yes, similar to most people out there who were fortunate enough to get this latest toy line early, today we are kicking off what I like to call the 4 days of Kingdomas with the Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom Deluxe class Paleotrex.
But of course, before we take a look at Paleotrex himself, I'd like to go ahead and take a quick moment to just look at the packaging in a very different style that I'd like to try out. So, very different compared to that of the Siege and Earthrise packaging. Kingdom delivers with quite possibly one of the most diverse looking packaging methods that they've ever done. As opposed to the giant window that we normally see to display the figure, we now have this little window right here to just kind of show a little bit of it and conceal the rest, along with the nice artwork carried over from the front to the right hand side. You also have a very nice new mural to go with the whole Kingdom aesthetic, and you have a clash of G1 and Beast Wars characters, and of course, like every Transformers figure ever to exist, here are your promotional images, playability, cross sales, and more. Now, something real brief that I want to talk about here is that when a lot of people heard that Hasbro and Takara were going more green for their future packaging, everyone kind of flipped out and was wondering, like, how is it going to work? Is it going to make things worse or a little easier? Well, in a pleasant surprise, this whole thing works. I actually really do like the limited display window to show the figures, and even the inside. They got rid of, like, the plastic shell and everything and replaced it with more cardboard, as well as more biodegradable materials to hold the figure in securely. Also, the weapon storage for how they put the figures in the packaging works a lot better than I thought it ever would. And frankly, it's a little bit more of a relief than worrying about someone stealing them and just leaving you the figure. So, kudos to Hasbro and Takara for going green, because honestly, you wouldn't get awesome boxes like this.
Oh yeah, and before I forget, they also do come with, at least the Deluxes anyway, and I think the Voyagers, they do come with the golden discards, which will reveal the fate of the character displayed. So far I have Optimus, Dinobot, and Black Arachnia, and I will leave the outcome to the imagination. Sorry to tease you guys, but get the figures and see for yourselves. Aha, there you go.
Now moving on to Paleotrex himself. As you can see, he is quite possibly one of the most obscure, most weird-looking Transformers figures we've received in a very, very, very long time. I very much enjoy the direction that they're going for with this new line for Kingdom. I think they turned out really well. Just kind of leaves you scratching your head for a moment. So let me elaborate on this. Paleotrex here is basically their take on what were the weaponizers and the modulators from both Siege and Earthrise, and giving them more of a prehistoric look called Fossilizers. And Paleotrex here is our very first one to start off the line. Followed by Ractonite, and technically, even though she's not a fossilizer, Vertebrake here. And so far, I mean, it's very impressive. I very much enjoy with how this looks. It's such a weird idea, but it makes sense, considering that Beast Wars takes place in ancient Earth before humans even existed. And even then, whenever, you know, I mean, the land of dinosaurs. I think it's really cool. The figure definitely proves to be a lot of fun and just looks astounding. Like, I'm not really much of a dinosaur nut as I used to be when I was a little kid, but I guarantee you, if you gave this to a little kid, I'm pretty sure they'd enjoy it. And even then, with the dinosaur fans out there now, that have always been out there, someone could probably use this as like a paperweight or a display piece or something, and it works. It works really well. A lot of nice dry brushing effect, the dark and light colors really complement one another. And the idea of a Cybertronian having a fossilized T-Rex as a beast mode. It's just weird, but it works for me. Crawling back from the Cretaceous period, it looks like the dinosaurs have returned, along with Beast Wars. Paleotrex here gives us our first look at basically what the new line of fossilizer, weaponizer modulators are. And he's coming in strong, and I very much enjoy him. I mean, how often do we ever see Transformers with fossil beast modes? You don't. It's something that doesn't exist until now. And even then, this feels like it fits Transformers, especially Kingdom, all too well. And for a very brief size comparison, here he is with the Core Class WFC K1 Core Class Optimus Prime. You can kind of get a sense of scale. And honestly, I think this works. It works quite well. But just to give you another, here he is next to Vertebrae. So you can see how that turns out. And it works pretty well. So with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get Paleotrex from looking like this to revealing the tribal weapons loadout within. And this is just one of his modes, so you're in for a treat. Anyway, this is loadout 1 of the Fossilizer Paleotrex's weapon loadout. As you can see, everything in his figure is utilized as a weapon. You have the T-Rex head and neck as a shield, you have the head of the robot mode as a mace, you have the 2 legs of the T-Rex mode as like these extra hands or even blasters if you want to use your imagination. I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't. You also have the crest of what will be his robot mode as a shield, and you also have the spine and tail of the T-Rex fossil mode as a giant tribal caveman looking axe. And I used Optimus because it does say you can use it with Warpath, but much like the weaponizers and the modulators, you can use any War for Cybertron trilogy figure for your weaponizers, modulators, and of course, fossilizers. Now, similar to the Siege weaponizers and the Earthrise modulators, fossilizers do have another weapons loadout, but I think I'm going to save that for a future review. So once again, let's go ahead and get Paleotrex from looking like this to revealing the ancient fossilized Predacon warrior within. And this has got to be one of the most obscure, weird, fascinating robot modes, or just even the concept of a transforming fossilized dinosaur to ever exist. I was honestly really anticipating Paleotrex a lot more than some others, probably because I used to be a dinosaur fanboy. I grew up loving dinosaurs and space and everything else. And lo and behold, Transformers finally does something with it. And it actually looks really cool too. I definitely enjoy the very ancient looking weathered effect that he has all throughout both forms. I really love the idea of this whole like battle mask being a thing. Like you just put that down and then his robot mode eyes peer through those open eye sockets. And then you can just flip it back up and then he has like a regular traditional, if not weird looking robot mode face. Now he is a little stumpy and his proportions are a little weird, but what do you expect from a fossilized Transformer? I think it works really well. And the playability with him becoming weapons for any WFC figure just works really well in my opinion. The articulation is exactly as it should be. I mean, it comes apart at the seams so the shoulders can rotate 360 degrees. They can go in and out, up and down. The head can look up and down a little bit. There's swivels all over the place. I mean, he has waist, wrists, everything that you need. And he just looks really, really good with other Generations Classics 2.0 figures. In my personal opinion. Definitely one of the highlights of Kingdom, and I'm really excited to see what else they do with the Fossilizers. And like I said, the only real accessory he comes with is just the sword. I mean, he is accessories for other figures, so it makes sense that he comes with something, but just a sword. And honestly, I think that's okay. It's fitting. He is a warrior, an ancient warrior, a Predacon warrior, and I think he does the job quite well. So for some brief size comparisons, here he is with the Leader Class Earthrise / Kingdom Optimus Prime. If I can get him to stand properly. There you go. Stand tall, Prime. And here he is with, once again, at least in Beast Mode, here he is with Vertebrae. So you can get an idea of how they look together. And for other deluxes, here he is with the future review, which is probably going to be the next one or the one after this one. Cheetor. Because I do have Black Arachnia, Cheetor, and Warpath, and I will be doing video reviews very, very soon. So there you go. So before we get to the final thoughts, let's go ahead and take a quick commercial break and hear a word from our sponsors. Transformers. Tired of being ordinary? Then go to extraordinary and transform your style with the brand new TFA 1024 merch available now at teespring.com/stores/TFA1024YT.
TFA 1024, where your entertainment will be transformed! Transformers.
So my overall thoughts on Paleotrex as a whole is he's weird, but he's also a nice refreshing breath of fresh air. He's interesting, but he's weirdly cool. And I really do enjoy the idea of them taking fossilized dinosaurs and turning them into these ancient Predacon warriors. It's almost as like they're sentinels, in a sense. But I really, just as the figure as a whole, I love the overall aesthetic that they're going for with these. If you were to tell me, or even just give this to me in Dino mode, and you were to tell me this transforms into a robot, I probably wouldn't believe you, but they somehow managed to do it. I love the weathering effect, I love all the molding detailing, I love all the paint, I love the playability that this thing has. There's really so much more going on here than is led to believe. I really just love this whole idea of the fossilizers, and I really cannot wait to see what else they can do. Because if we're getting a T-Rex, and we're getting a Triceratops, I really just hope we get more and more of these. And I also hope that Kingdom doesn't last like 3 or 4 waves like Earthrise, because man, that still leaves a sour taste in my mouth. So yeah, if you want to get your hands on this guy, I would definitely say pick this figure up. Because while he's not necessarily a necessity to your collection, Kingdom Paleotrex is definitely a very weird, a very fun, and a very awesome addition to your Generations Autobots, Maximals, Decepticons, and of course, Predacons. So pick them up if you want to, because I recommend, so you can decide. But that's pretty much all there is to say, my fellow addicts. A huge thank you to everyone who's been very patient with me for the last, few months now? It's been a year so far full of hardships, especially with what happened back in March, but I'm still trudging along, still doing my best, and I am going to come back on here and do my best to transform your entertainment one video at a time. Hopefully, with a lot better quality and consistency. So please be patient with me. I promise you I will do my best to get videos back on a regular schedule, or just be a little bit more active around here. And I promise you that hopefully none of them will disappoint. And like I said, if you happen to want this figure for yourself, feel free to check the link down in the description down below and pick up a Paleotrex for yourself, along with Kingdom Wave 1 Deluxes and Core Class today. But with all that being said, my fellow addicts, that's pretty much all there is to say. So this has been my video review on the Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom Deluxe Class Paleotrex, and I want to thank each and every one of you for watching. And please remember, my fellow addicts, until next time, to get addicted, stay addicted, and TF Addicts for life! This is TFA 1024, the TF Addict, rolling out till all are one.
for now.